So today we're going to be going through a couple of Excel questions for FinMath just to kind of get the hang of it and see how we approach solving problems in FinMath using Excel as opposed to the regular method that we're used to, which is calculating things out by hand. Welcome to the modern world. So the first question we're going to be constructing a loan schedule. So it says that a loan of 250,000 is taken out at an effective rate of interest of 3.5% per annum for the first 3 years and an effective rate of interest of 7.5% per annum thereafter. For the first 18 months, no loan repayments are made. After this, level loan repayments are made monthly in arrears such that the loan will be fully paid in 25 years after it is taken out. If the repayments are insufficient to cover the interest due, the loan will be increased overall to cover the shortfall. Construct the loan schedule. So first, I'm going to note all my information down in this area here underneath the question so that I can easily refer to it when I draw my table or loan schedule somewhere here in my formulae. So the first thing to note is the term, and the term is 25 years or 25 times 12, 300 months. Because I assume, because we're given monthly payments, probably the fastest way to do this would be to do everything, all your installments, payments, and interest, whatever, so your interest portions of the loan to be in monthly amounts. So I'm going to be working in months, so the term is 300 months, and the loan itself is 250,000 Rand. No, not Rand, it's in Great British Pounds. So I'm going to change this to Great British Pounds. Why can't I find Great British Pounds? Currency, you don't have to do this, by the way. You can just leave it without units, and it'll still be fine. Pounds. What? I can't find pounds anywhere here. I see a Welsh. Okay, I'm gonna use a Welsh. It's fine. Or Scottish Gaelic. Or English United Kingdom, this one. Okay. So there we are. The loan, 250 Great British Pounds. And we're given two interest rates. So I1 is 3.5% percent per annum effective. And this is for the first 3 years. Okay. And then the second interest rate, I2, is 7.5% per annum. And this is after the 3 years, so thereafter. And we're given some more information that no payments for the first 18 months. So, um, first 18 months, no payment. After this, level loan repayments are made monthly in arrears such that the loan will be fully repaid 25 years after it is taken out. So repayments are made monthly in arrears. If repayments are insufficient to cover the interest due, whatever, the loan will just be increased. So this is our information. And although we're not given the value of our repayments, you don't actually need the value of your repayments for loan schedule because we're going to goal seek it anyway because we know that the final value of the loan at the end of the term should be zero. So we're going to use goal seek to kind of make the loan repayments zero. So I'm going to move this here and I'm going to refer to this cell. The repayment value is uh it's zero for now, but this is gonna change, okay? So now we construct our loan schedule. We start with our timeline, which is the time column in Excel, and it's in months. So, and we have 300 months. So 0, 1, 2. I want to drag this down to 300. 300 months. There we go. And we're going to have the loan outstanding. And remember that this loan outstanding is at the beginning of the period here. So I'm just going to add that there. So loan outstanding. Oh, what's going on here? Loan outstanding at the beginning of this period here, at the beginning of this month. So loan outstanding at time 0. And we're going to have our fixed repayment in this column, our fixed repayment. And we're going to have our interest paid and our capital repaid and the loan outstanding at the end of that period. So these are, if you're familiar with a loan schedule, this is how it looks. We have our time in this column, and then we'll have our loan at the beginning of the period. We have our repayments, our interest paid, our capital repaid, and after the capital has been repaid, we calculate the loan outstanding at the end of the period. Cool. So first of all, we know that the loan outstanding at time 0, at the beginning of time 0, is going to be 250,000. Okay. And we know that for the first 18 months, so for these 18 months, there is no repayment for the first 18 months. There's no repayment. We're given in the information here for the first 18 months. So up until the end of the 18th month, there is no repayment. So we're just gonna have zeros here. I don't like the look of zeros. I'm just gonna leave it blank. So I'm gonna do an if statement. So what happens is the first repayment is at the end of the 19th month here. So there's no repayment for the first at the end of the first 18 months, the 18 months, and the first repayment starts at the end of the 19th month because they are made monthly in arrears. So I'm going to do an if statement just because I don't want to leave it blank and then have to pinpoint where 19 starts and whatever. So a quick way is to do an if statement. If so equals if I'm going to say if time is less than 18, okay? I'm going to say if time is less than 19, the value that I wanted to put in the cell, I wanted to leave the cell blank. And if it's greater than or equal to 19, so starting at the end of the 19th month, I wanted to use the repayments here and I'm going to fix that. So what this does is that this if statement, the way an if statement is structured is that we have a logical test. So the logical test is if the time cell is less than 19 and the time cell is not fixed. So when it comes here, it's going to refer to this one. When it comes here, it's going to refer to this one. So it says when this cell is less than 19, there's no payment. So I want you to leave this repayment thing blank. This is how you write a blank in Excel. So it'll be blank from 0 up until 18. And the moment that this cell is greater than or equal to 19, it's going to put the value here. And remember the value here, although it's 0 right now, we're going to goal seek it to change. So that's our if statement. And I'm going to do this. And you'll see that it fills everything with blanks. And then starting at the end of the 19th month, it puts zeros. Okay. Now, the interest paid. Remember that these interests that were given are per annum, are annual effective interest rates, and we want them now. Now we're working in months, so the interest paid will be a monthly interest figure. So we have to change this into monthly interest rate. So I'm gonna change them again here. So I1 monthly, I1 monthly is going to be 1 plus. This is just your standard interest rate conversion formula. 1 plus this to the power of 1 over 12 minus 1. And that's your monthly rate. And then I2 monthly, it's the same thing. So it's going to be 1 plus this interest rate to the power of 1 over 12 minus 1. And those are your monthly figures. And the interest paid will be the interest accrued on this loan outstanding figure at the beginning of from the beginning of the period to the end of the period. So we'll say this times, so I'm gonna have to do an if statement because this one changes as well. So let's just stop what we're doing here. So because the interest changes after the first 3 months or after the first 3 years, I don't want to have to, this is after, it means the change happens after 3 times 12 months, which is 36. I don't want to have to scroll to 36 and manually change the interest figure here. I'm just going to do an if statement so it does it automatically for me. I'm going to say equals if, so if this time is less than 37, I want it, so the interest paid is, okay, yeah. If this time is less than 37, I want it to say this multiplied by this interest rate, I1. And I'm going to fix it by pressing Fn, F4, or you can just put the dollar signs here manually. But if it's greater than 37 or greater than or equal to 37, I want it to say this times the second interest rate, like this. And it's going to give you your interest paid here in this column. And it's showing zeros because there's nothing here as of yet. So, and then the capital repaid is simply just this minus this. Yeah, minus enter. It's giving me a value error because I'm subtracting a blank cell from whatever. Okay, I'm gonna have to put a zero here so that it can give me a figure. And then the loan outstanding at the end of the period. So let me change this whole thing. Okay. And then the loan outstanding at the end of the period will be the loan outstanding at the beginning minus the capital repaid, which is negative here because we had no repayment, so it's going to increase the loan. And this amount here, the loan outstanding at the beginning of the next period, is the loan outstanding at the end of the previous period, because the beginning of time 2 is the end of time 1, which is here. And so we're gonna do that with all of them. Same here, we're gonna do that with all of them. And same here, we're gonna do that with all of them. And now it populates um, our table really nicely. But now we have a problem. The end of our term is 300. And as we see in 300, the value of the loan at the end of the 300th period is 1 million something, something, something. But we know that in actual fact, it's supposed to be zero. So we're going to have to use goal seek to say, goal seek is like you're solving for X. In this case, our X is the repayments column. So we want a repayment that's going to make our loan zero, which will complete our loan schedule. So we're going to go to data, what if analysis, goal seek, and we're going to change this cell to zero. We want to set this cell so that it's zero by changing which cell? This one, which has our monthly repayments. And it's going to do its thing there. And we will have the value of our loan as £0 at the end of the term. And it means that the repayment, the amount of the repayment is 1851. So I just noticed that there's something wrong with my timeline here because I have the loan outstanding at the beginning of the period and the loan outstanding at the end of the period. And I have time 0, which by definition time 0 is the beginning of time 1. So this should start at 1, 2, 3. It should not start at 0 so that you can have beginning of time 1 and end of time 1 like that. And then it should go from 0 to 300. So it means there's nothing in these last few columns here. So it means our our repayment amount will change as well. So I'm gonna have to do the whole goal seek process again. Um, so what if analysis, goal seek, change the value of this cell to zero, or set the value of this cell to zero by changing the repayment amounts, which now gives us a repayment amount of 145. And I'm going to make that also in Great British pounds. Why do I keep doing that? In Great British pounds as well. And it's always good to indicate how you got your answer. So here I'm going to say via goal seek, so that the marker knows that I used goal seek to get this answer for my loan schedule. And yeah, that's your loan schedule completed. So I'm just going to quickly highlight this and then put borders on this table. So of HPA. And that is your completed loan schedule. You have no repayments for the first 18 months. And so the loan just keeps growing. You can see it grows from 250 to 51. And the reason it's growing is because there's not enough amount in repayments to cover the interest paid, or to cover the interest portion of the loan. And so when you say the capital repaid, it's just the interest, the negative of the interest paid. And so it increases the value of the loan, and the value of the loan just keeps increasing until you get your first repayment, which will be enough to cover the interest and the capital portion. And as you go down, you'll notice that the interest portion of the loan starts to decrease and the capital portion of the loan starts to increase. Because as the loan decreases here, as the loan decreases, the interest accrued on the loan also decreases. And so the amount of capital that you can then be able to pay increases because your repayments are flat until the interest rate changes at around here, and the same trend starts to happen again. And then at the end of our term, at the end of the term of the loan, we have a loan value of zero. So that's how you do a loan schedule in Excel. Plenty of other different, maybe more challenging questions that you can do, or more trickier or fun questions that you can do. So try to practice more and practice. Make sure you're comfortable with drawing out this loan schedule on Excel and being able to use GoalSeek to find the repayments. And yeah, that's basically the loan schedule. So now we'll move on to the second part of the question.